What's up, YouTube? Endless here for week 4 of LTM, or low tier Mayhem. To begin, I'd like to apologize for getting this out super late. I had a family things come up around the date this was supposed to be uploaded at, so I was unable to get it out or even record, really. In fact, I almost wasn't able to play my week 5 versus Able, but luckily that did happen. That video will be going up tomorrow, assuming I upload this on Saturday. But that's in the past now, and I'm here to bring you this video. So week 4, we're going up against Jesse, in my opinion, one of the strongest players in the league. He has great records in DPL, DCL, and individual showdown tours. He won the most recent BBR season, if I remember correctly. So, pretty scary opponent. His team is pretty much as well. We're both 2-1 going into this game, so both of us want to, move out the 3-1, put us in a prime position to make a run instead of falling down 2-2, kind of being in the middle of the pack. So, obviously, a lot on the line for both of us. But it is early of the season that it's likely we'll rematch in playoffs if we both make it. So definitely something to keep in mind. With that, let's get into his team. So Jesse's team is monstrous. He somehow got round 2 Terra Gyarados with round 1 Mindshell. I don't know how everyone threw to allow that to happen. I took Terra OKIDOGI round 1 because I've been really want to try it. But if I had not grabbed that, I would have taken that Terra Gyarados for my first pick. This thing's insane. It's very strong here. There's a few Terra types that seem really good. Terra Water, I can see coming with like a Scarf to just click Terra Blast and punch holes. Terra Electric seems the most likely. It's been very popular this season against me with setup mons because my electric checks are not very good. And also just I don't break electric types that well. Like my electric switch that breaks is a Sandaconda, which doesn't appreciate Waterfall. My Waterfall checks are Terra Curl and Electro. Terra Curl doesn't appreciate Terra Blast Electric. The last time I see it being is Poison, even though it makes it weak to Braviary, like it's gas Braviary after Dragon Dance anyway, and Poison lets it set up on OKIDOGI and Tacroll, and even kinda on Skarmory depending on the set. Although Electric is more likely to stay up on Skarmory. But that's definitely the biggest range matchup. If I can neutralize it, I'll be in a really good position. Mindshell is also incredibly frustrating. It just pivots around. It's quick U-turn. I can't really do much to punish it. And then eventually it gets in an endgame where I can click triple axe or close combat, and I kind of just lose. So I gotta make sure I preserve my bulkier pieces to not lose the Scarf Mindshell. Hatterene is very annoying because the only way I can really get hazards up versus Hatterene is with a really offensive Skarmory, but then I'm forfeiting my investment and I kind of just don't check Mindshell or Gyarados or Bisharp or Rhyperior anymore, which is really rough. I would need, pretty sure, max attack Iron Head's 45 to Fizz Div Hatterene, which is good, but, not to a killing. It's really rough because it hits me back row with Mystical Fire and just can always come in and bounce my hazards. So, Hatterene's definitely a annoyance game. It could also, run a Trick Room set, and with my Steel typing Skarmory, stabs Mystical Fire hits me really hard. Raikou is a Pokemon that exists. I don't think it's amazing here, but Electric types are obviously very good to me, so, this is probably going to come anyway, so the fast pivot, speed control, stuff like that. Rhyperior, I'm very scared of. Yes, I have a Skarmory, but if everyone's Smackdown Earthquake, I do not switch into that. Catch a Skarmory on Smackdown, I pretty much have to pick a sack to Earthquake. Also, he's definitely going to want Rocks this game, so I think it's likely to come as his Rocker as well, because my removal Tacroll doesn't want to come in on his Rocks, because obviously, straight Earthquake, I just die. Colossal's decent here, it's good check to my Typhlosion, my Braviary. It gets up hazards, spins, it's a Colossal, it's fine. Bisharp is interesting. It does lose to OKIDOGI, lose to Bypass Skarm, loses to some amounts, but it's a really good Braviary check with the Violate, letting it tank Heat Wave decently, and Sucker Punch me so I can't stay in. Abomasnow's here. It can pivot into Electro, but I feel like there's better things to do with that. If he wants Veil, he wants Veil, but I don't think it's the most likely thing to come. Dusknoir is pretty much a must-bring for OKIDOGI because OKIDOGI smashed him otherwise. Look at this team and look at its stabs in Knock, and then you just see a Qwilfish. That's the most likely to come for OKIDOGI. I do have to run Guard Dog, even though I'd Toxic Chain for some stuff, because I have to respect him potentially running Intimidate. I'm pretty sure Jesse's a good enough player that he's not going to run Intimidate. He'll almost definitely run Poison Point, but I have to respect it. But you can see, if I just start coverage for those two, plus stabs, he does not have a switch in. Knockoff for Dusknoir does a hefty chunk, and as we'll see, Terra Electric Thunder Punch will also smash the Qwilfish. On my side, Hisuian Braviary looks pretty solid, as always. This looks like the first decent Hisuian Typhlosion game. It's not amazing, but I really need the speed control here in the Scarfer, and Sneasel sucks here. And Electro doesn't really fulfill that role that well. Skarm is okay, but it can be set up bar for some stuff. Same with Tentacruel. Electro looks really solid here offensively if Abomasnow doesn't come, which I don't think is that likely. I don't think Abomasnow is great to me. Those are main things. GRIMMSNARL, actually, I think is really nice. He doesn't have the best ways to remove screens outside Brick Break Mind Shell, or even like our sets could be really effective here. Sandaconda pretty much has to come for stuff like Raikou, Rhyperior, even Gyarados if it's Terra Electric or Poison, like I'm expecting. And like the rest of my mons aren't great. Like Sneasel's not great here. Ampharos is fine. It's not amazing. And Spite Opposite isn't coming here. So that, let's get into the team itself. So let's start off with the big boy himself, Choice Band OKIDOGI. If you look back at his team, he does not have a switch in. If I click the right button, something falls. Something dies. Close combat is amazing here. Thunder Punch smacks the Quillfish. Knockoff smacks the Dusknoir. And Poison Jab is here just to cover eventual Hatterene switch in. I don't think he'll make that play until he knows I'm banded. Even then, he'd have to be really ballsy because Knockoff or Thunder Punch still does a hefty chunk. But if I do catch the Hatterene Poison Jab, it's nice. Yep, didn't really need another fourth move. I consider like Drain Punch, but I just wanted the reliable hit on Hatterene. And Poison Jab does OHKO Fizz Def with my band, so I didn't need to worry about Gunk Shot. Next up, we do have Garoth the Electrode, running Eject Pack Leaf Storm this week. As you can see, OKIDOGI is a huge breaker. We'll see another breaker down the line. I just want to use this to let me get in my OKIDOGI. There's a great lead. Leaf Storm turn 1 is pretty hard for him to defend against. Volt Switch is nice. Just get it around after I use up my Eject Pack. Foul Play is mainly here for the Gyarados. For like at +1, so I can hit it decently hard no matter what his Terra type is. Also does good, solid damage to like Swords Dance Rhyperior, even though I can't Leaf Storm that. But like just depending on the situation, if I don't want to risk. I'll give Giga Drain's probably not. Giga Drain's just here for a Grass Stabs. Grass is more spammable than Electric into him, so I want to move very quick. And the Giga Drain versus Energy Ball Calcus didn't really change much, so Giga Drain seems fine. Just recover a little bit of health. Nothing too crazy here. Just Electrode to drop in my OKIDOGI and also to drop in my Scarf Typhlosion. So Typhlosion's a little weird here because he does have stuff like Colossal and Bisharp and Rhyperior, even Gyarados. But Eruption's still relatively spammable. It hits pretty hard. And also, the big thing is, what I came up with that, I was like, the first time I was like, I need Eruption, I need Will-O-Wisp. Because if I can catch the Rhyperior on the switch with Will, it gets neutralized and it becomes setup bar for something we'll see later. So I think that's pretty solid. Other than that, the stats are pretty standard. Infernal Parade over Shallow Ball, because again, burning stuff on the switch is just really nice. And realistically, I may well click my fire move anyway. And the difference between Shallow Ball and Infernal Parade into like Gyarados and Rhyperior is negligible. Might as well get that, I believe it's a 30% burn chance. Something like that 30% burn chance, yeah. And plus doing boosted damage after it gets the burn is really nice. Okay. Onwards to Hisuian Braviary. So this week it's a pretty offensive set. It's also running a lot of speed. I believe 227 is faster than what is that for? I think it's for Quillfish with a bit of speed. So it just stabs here. Like, yes, there's a type Bisharp, and Bisharp is pretty good into this build, but I don't think it's that worried because I do have like the OKIDOGI and the Sandaconda. We're running Tinted Lens this time, so even though Bisharp and for first, I think we run Sheer Force every week. So Tinted Lens allows us to break down the Bisharp and the Rhyperior more, especially the Rhyperior is the big one that I'm worried about. And Defog, because he does have the ability to Spike Stack me or bring Hatterene to bounce hazards, as we'll see, I'm not bringing Skarm or Tentacruel. And Esper Wing is just nice, just as a way to boost my speed, potentially, to make clean up a late game, or a more reliable click into a lot of things. U-turn, because again, this whole game plan is use momentum to get in Lumina, get in Raikou, and click a button. Yeah, pretty solid set. I don't remember exactly what the defense does. I think it lets me live, like, it might have let me live a Sucker Punch from Bisharp. I think that's what it was. But like I think it was an animate Sucker from full because I'm Boots, but I might be misremembering. Again, it's been a couple weeks. Hey, now we do have our Wincon. We're bringing Vice the GRIMMSNARL as the Wincon this week with bulk up free attacks, including Sucker Punch. He does not like breaking down Spidef GRIMMSNARL. So the only real way to do it is Hatterene to an extent, and I guess Bisharp if I'm not set up yet. But other than that, it's real hard for him to break this. Play rough Stomping Tantrums the team really hard. Obviously, Stomping Tantrums destroys Colossal and hits Quillfish for decent damage. Again, it's unlikely to be Intimidate because of OKIDOGI, meaning that it's gonna do like a lifetime boosted. Sucker Punch is here. I mean, it's pretty obvious here. I don't want to take damage for stuff like Raikou and Gyarados, and those are our main ones honestly. And I guess Mind Shell if it's really low, I can sucker, but it should never be in range really if it's a regen. I ran player over Spirit Break because I don't remember exact counts, but there were counts where I picked up 2 Akios and 1 Akios. Spirit Break didn't. And I didn't think I really need a Spirit Break here with all the Spidef investment anyway. It could have been nice for a hat, but other than that, it's not that useful. Yeah, pretty simple. Lefties to try and stay healthy since I couldn't fit Drain Punch on the set. I did kind of want Drain Punch, but I felt all their moves were more valuable. I maybe could have dropped Sucker for it, but I think this set was pretty good. And lastly, we do have a Sandaconda, Pasho Berry because Gyarados is scary, Thunderfang in case it hasn't terrored yet, EQ if it does go electric or poison I'm expecting, Glare and Stealth Rock. So Glare's really good here. If he goes hard hiring until he bounces Stealth Rock and get paralyzed, that's okay because I'm Shed Skin. But catching like pretty much AVLs with power is really nice. Can give me some free turns to break or to set up with GRIMMSNARL. And also, of course, speed control if I can catch Gara before it Terra Electrics or even if it's another Terra type afterwards. Also helps like eventually paralyze Rapier if it's a Rock Polish. It's just really nice here. And the one mon that can't be paralyzed by a Raikou gets destroyed by Earthquake. Yeah, it's a pretty simple set. Rocks are nice for Gyarados. For Colossal, for Abomasnow, it'll be a Colossal probably boots, but just the chip is helpful. And yeah, pretty simple set. Thunderfang was kind of up in the air. I wasn't sure what to play in that slot, but I didn't really have a great fourth move. I could have maybe put Rest, but I didn't want this to be too passive. Could have been a Fire Fang, like, for the Abomasnow, but again, I didn't think Abomasnow had a good matchup into me at all. So yeah, that's so you got Bandit, Okidogi, Eject Pack, Offensive, Electrodes, Scarf, Typhlosion, which is like its only freaking set. This thing sucks. Offensive, mid, bulk, boots, Braviary with Tame Lens for the first time. Setup, GRIMMSNARL, Spidef bulk up, and precious utility offensive Sandaconda. So that's the entire team. With that, let's get into the battle. And here we are with the battle versus Jesse. So I said in Team Builder, Jesse's a very scary opponent, very strong player, very strong draft. But I did know going into this, it would be an uphill battle. However, I had faith in myself to be able to win this. Especially with my build, I thought my matchup was actually pretty solid, and my build was really good. So let's just hop right into it. As always, we're going to pause that preview real quick. So he shows he's Terra Electric Gyarados. Obviously, I'm showing him Terra Electric OKIDOGI. Electric was pretty expected. I mean, it sets up all on my team. It prevents paralysis shield. Pretty basic stuff. Everyone's running it into me. We do see Raikou, Mindshell, Dusknoir, Colossal, and Quillfish. So no Hattering, which makes me kind of regret not running more hazards, but that's okay. No Rapier, which I was very surprised about. In hindsight, it makes sense, but I was really worried about it in prep because I just don't switch into it at all. And you can like pretty easily volt into it or U-turn into it with stuff. No Abomasnow is pretty nice. It's not a big deal. I thought it was pretty unlikely, but not being here does kind of open up, some opportunities for Electrode. And no Bisharp makes Braviary a lot freer and makes actually GRIMMSNARL a lot more reliable as an endgame win con. So that, let's just unpause. So I'm going to write everything down, then we'll select our lead, which is going to be Hisuian Electrode. As you can see, he's already selected his lead, so he knows what he's going to lead with, and I go Electrode here. Which I was pretty sure on. Usually I know my lead going in, it's just like, I like to write down the whole team at preview, which takes me a minute. But yeah, here we go. So he leads with Crash Out Jr. the Quillfish, I lead with Garoth the Electrode. Obviously a very strong lead for me. I do apologize about the Discord joining and leaving sounds in the video. I was streaming this match in LTM to the coaches, so you'll hear a few of those throughout the video. That said, I'm just going to volt out and get in my Sandaconda. I do think for a minute, because I don't want to like necessarily burn my Pasho immediately, but it would be a crackhead play to stay installed when I can just Earthquake and do a ton of damage to it. So I do just drop in Sandaconda here. And I don't want to play any games this thing trying to set up or something, so I'm just going to quick Earthquake. It does reveal leftovers, and the Volt Switch damage reveal it's pretty bulky. Couldn't tell the exact spread yet, but it looks pretty bulky. And you're going to see I'm hovering over Terra a lot, not because I want to, but because my Joy-Cons are drifting. It's Nintendo telling me to buy a Switch 2, but I don't have $400 to drop, so oh well. You'll have to sell for Switch 1 gameplay for a while, sorry y'all. But anyway, we have Earthquake into the Dusknoir. It's about 30-35%, so that shows it's physically defensive. Because I'm a pretty offensive Sandaconda, so that means it is the Okidogi check, which makes sense. Get my rocks, might as well. He pain splits and Does a bit of damage to me. More importantly, gets himself up to near full. I'm going to contemplate switching, but I do kind of realize if anything is burned, I'm not really happy about it. Nothing wants to come in on Poltergeist either. So I'm just going to stay in and glare. This is probably my best response to it anyway. Get off of free paralysis. He's going to attempt to will-list me, miss, but considering Sankan shit skin, I don't think it actually matters that much long term. And Sankan, is a monster going to stay in throughout the game, so it's pretty likely I will get a shed skin at some point. Of course, it would be nice now, so we wouldn't be taking as much damage on Dust Noir, but overall, I don't think it matters that much. Now he's going to get the burn off this turn, so he can just Pain Split again on something else, so again, it doesn't change that much. Believe I just go... I might have gone OKIDOGI thinking he went double Willow. I go into GRIMMSNARL thinking he went double Willow to cover the Ghost move. In hindsight, this is a very bad play, because if he did double Will, my win con would have been, fucked really early, which is not good. But I'm going to come in. If he wanted, he could have calced my HP from the Pain Split to CM max HP. I'm not sure if he did that. But yeah, I'm going to bulk up. I expect him to be forced out by the threat of like a dark move. Bulk up was not a good play. I definitely should have just doubled, but it's hindsight. He shows not to be Intimidate, so he's most likely Poison Point. Theoretically could be a Social offensive set, but considering you let it, I don't think that's particularly likely. So I believe I just go into OKIDOGI here. Yeah, because he can't really do much to me. We have a flip turn, sure, but it's not in the end of the world. He just tries to Toxic my GRIMMSNARL, which I'll say we can show him bulk up, that makes a lot of sense. But this gets me a free entry for OKIDOGI, and I can just Terror and click the strongest Thunder Punch known to man. He has to set up a spike here, so he gets a best of hazards, which could be annoying later. And I'm just gonna, knock it out with this giant Thunder Punch. And this could have shown Banded, depends if he was super fat to live that otherwise, I'm not sure. But it probably did show off on Band. He does go into Dust Noir here, which does check me. If he knows I'm Banned, he knows I can't really touch it with Thunder Punch. He can't stay in and risk getting burned. So I make a very ballsy play, and I go hard into my my Typhlosion on the Willow. But I feel like he has to Willow there, because otherwise he just loses OKIDOGI on the spot. But he actually doubles and goes into Raikou. So it takes a bit of chip from rocks, and it's going to get some health back from the lefties. Obviously, I outspeed this with my Scarf. I don't really see a great bit. I could go into Sanconda, but again, it's burned. He could be a Calm Mindset. I don't want to let him start setting up. So I'm just going to Fire of an Eruption and get the damage I can. Gets off a good like 65%, so that's really low. He has to go Extra Sensory after, which gets some good chip, weakens my Eruption for future turns. I believe I just go out to Conda here. Oh no, I go Dogi, because I take the Extra Sensory really well, and I can just fire for another attack. If it's the electric move, it also doesn't do much to me. Again, Dogi, he does double, so he uses the Spikes chip on this turn. But he gets in the Colossal, and it's pretty obvious he can't stay, he can't risk this going down. So I just fire off a knockoff. It's pretty free, and Dust Noir gets smashed by it. I'll come in, take some spikes, and I will knock it off for huge damage. He actually just straight up knocks out the physically defensive Dust Noir. I take some Helmet, which is obviously not ideal, but yeah. That's 2 for OKIDOGI so far. It's taken down as 2 checks just because it's so strong, trust me. In comes the Mind Shadow because he knows I'm knocked into knockoff, so obviously I can't stay in. Yeah, I just go Typhlosion here. Which is not a very good play, but it's nothing else I really wanted to let take a hit from this. So I do just go hard Typhlosion. Take some more spikes. I do Frisk and finally use Choice Scarf, so that's good to know for later. Obviously, it makes it a huge threat, but also means I can scout later for locking moves and take advantage of that. Here comes the Colossal, so obviously I can't do anything to this. So he's going to get pretty much free hazards or a spin if he wants. I just go back to stand the combo though, because even burned, I still frame this thing really heavily with my Earthquake. Take the spikes, he spins, so he gets rid of the rocks on my side. He knows I'm not going to keep my Ghost Type in there, it would be absurd. And Sankon's getting pretty low because he also has to take the burn chip. I'm just gonna fire off a glare, expecting a potential switch. If he stays in, I get a nice para. If he doesn't, something getting paralyzed, which is just a good thing overall. So you get off the glare. I'm kind of surprised staying in because Earthquake probably would have OKO'd this, but he doesn't want to get his rocks up, which is fair enough for Typhlosion in the back. And now my burn will go away from the shit skin. I'm really considering clicking Earthquake here, but I kind of realize he has no reason to stay in, and he can see the opportunity to go Gyarados and kind of destroy me. So I'm going to double glare. And this play works out amazingly for me because I catch the Gyarados. And this swing being paralyzed makes it a much less of a threat. Yeah, it makes it much less of a threat, just not that dangerous into me anymore. I'm just going to Thunder Fang because I don't think he's going to want to Terra Electric into me when I can Earthquake him. But he does actually click the Terra, which I don't really get that play, but it works out here because I did click Thunder Fang this turn. And I'm going to Thunder Fang for a bit of chip. Do like 10%. And he's going to Waterfall, and he's going to hit into my Passion Berry, which I do win. That did like virtually nothing. And it basically shows he doesn't have that much physical attack investment. Just be bulky again with leftovers. And I'm pretty sure I just let Sandaconn go down. I click Earthquake here to do some damage, yeah. But he does switch out on the pretty obvious Earthquake. Gets in Mind Shell. Earthquake, as you'll see, is doing absolute crap ton to this thing. Earthquake does like 98-99%. I'm pretty sure it was a roll to kill, but it was like very heavily in his favor. So I'm just going to stay in. He's just going to U-turn and get his regen, but I don't really need to go into anything else. Sandaconn's done his job for this game. So Mind Shell gets out of dodge. And he has to pick what to send in here. He does bring back in the Gyarados. Gets back to pretty much full of the left. Actually, yes, definitely full of the lefties. I don't remember if I go Okidogi or... Oh, I think go Electrode here, but it's been a while. No, I just go Dogi, right? Because, like, I'm pretty sure I calced in, like, close combat Okos are just a lot. If I can get this well, then my Armounts can win in the end game. Obviously, shaking a wild chip here is not ideal from the hazards, but it's not the end of the world. Okidogi's just gonna quit close combat. And he does elect to sack the Raikou, makes sense, it's pretty low, doesn't do much anymore. And that thing's just gonna obviously drop, like, it's a banded close combat. That would kill like 3 Raikous. Raikou killing Raikou, very funny. Just in comes Mind Shell, which forces me out because I have my my defense sword. Yeah, let's go Braviary here because if he goes Axel, fair enough, but something. It is actually Axel, which was a very ballsy play, I have to say, because if he missed, I just could close combat, like, again. Guy was screwed. Braviary's gonna live on a tiny bit of help. I don't know how much I can do anymore, so I think it's pretty sure I just try and defog here. Yeah, I just try and defog here. He is not gonna risk the Axel, which makes sense, because if he misses the Axel, he loses Mind Shell, he kind of loses the game on the spot. Get the defog off into the Colossal. Clear those spikes and the rocks from my side, which is really nice. Spikes. You can also put the rocks back up with Colossal, but spikes can't. Get a U-turn. And unfortunately, I do get Flame Bite, meaning that if Braviary comes in, and it's not like after I'm on feints, it's just going to go down to the burn. It's not ideal, obviously. But I do go into Okidogi, I believe, yeah. No, I go GRIMMSNARL, right, because I want to start saying up. I showed Rabbitson's Self-Rock Flamethrower. I don't think Will-Wisp is the 4th move based on that, because Mono Flamethrower doesn't seem great as your Hazard Terror into Tentacruel. So I think the last one is probably like some sort of coverage move. So I'm just going to start bulking up. And as we'll see, the Flamethrower is going to do hot nothing. Even with that crate, did like 25-30%. And so GRIMMSNARL is just going to start working out, start getting those bulks up. Bulk ups, I guess. Yeah, I do get a full power here, which is obviously nice because you have a Flamethrower for extra chip. And potential burn chance, obviously. I do bulk up again because I believe I need the 3 bulk ups to guarantee the OKO Stomping Tantrum. And obviously that's very important because I will limit the amount of times I have to hit this thing and risk the Flame Body. So I am going to do that. I am just going to Stomping Tantrum on this turn. And he is going to go 2 for 2 on proccing Flame Body on my Mons, burning my GRIMMSNARL. Which is unfortunate, obviously means I'm not getting lefties recovery and my attacks don't do as much damage. But I do, but even so, I'm at +3, so my attacks are still doing more damage than normal than they would at +0. And I'm really fat. And his last 2 months are physical. In comes the Gyarados. I'm just going to Stomping Tantrum here. Does the most damage, no point risking Play Rough. Stomping Tantrum should KO Mind Charmer's range. I consider switching out, but I realized that was just really stupid. So I have Tantrum here. Do about 60. He's go Waterfall. As I'm at +3, he does not do that much at all. It was like 25%. Obviously, GRIMMSNARL was getting low, which is an ideal. But at this health, it is still able to take a hit from Mind Shell pretty effectively. He's going to knock out the Gyarados with the Tantrum. And his last one is obviously the Mind Shell, which has to come in here. Is back like about 70 from the regens. Regen's a stupid ability. But I switch player if I don't have another play. Stomping Tantrum Sucker doesn't kill, so I have to risk the miss. The Axles does a ton of damage to me. But Play Rough is going to take out the Mind Shell, and GRIMMSNARL will win us this game. So that's a huge 5-0 victory over Jesse. Again, who I thought was one of the... Well, I still think is one of the strongest competitors in the league. And this really helped salvage my differential a bit. I believe this put me up to 3-1 plus 7. So that was really nice. I believe I was actually in... No, I think this was 3-1 plus 8. And this put me in first place at the time of... this put me in first place going into week 5. So that was a really nice win. GRIMMSNARL and OKIDOGI putting work. Sandaconda, even though DNA kills and was the one that went down, it did its job really well. So with that... Oh, sorry. This was 2-1 plus 8, not 3-1 plus 8. I don't know why I said that. No, this was... Oh, this was a 3-1 plus 8. I think I just named the comp wrong. What it should have been week 4. But yeah, 3-1 plus 8 is pretty solid. Gives us a good head and shoulders going into playoff contention. Obviously, we still have to win a lot more games, but it's a good start. Next up is week 5 versus Amo, so we can see if we can keep the streak alive or go down to another one of the really best players in the league. In my opinion, Jesse, Amo are probably the 3 best players in the league. I'm playing 3 of them within 4 weeks with Tone sprinkled in between them, which is obviously he's still pretty solid too. So the schedule has not been easy so far whatsoever. So I'll see you for week 5 versus Amo tomorrow, assuming I post this on Saturday. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, everyone. Thanks for checking me out. Peace.